Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala!
With the sun and it burns until the day is done.
All right, 25 minutes before 10 o'clock. You know, I was thinking about this. We live in a tourist destination, and when those tourists are related to us and they stay in our homes here in Marion County, quite often we drive them down to Orlando or Tampa or wherever, and quite often they'll say, what can we do around here? And of course, you know, Silver Springs comes to mind. But ever since the folks with the Equine Alliance have been doing horse sense, it is really clear that we've got more than I realized that you can do right in our own community with the horses. Barbara Feitos has brought in 4 new people for us to get to meet. Good morning, Barbara. How are you doing?
Good morning. How are you, Larry?
Good. And I mean, the more I listen to what you all say, the more I realize, wow, there's so much to do here, you know, as far as being a spectator, being a participant.
Correct.
With the horseback riding and things like that. So,
yeah.
You want to introduce your guest?
Absolutely. I'd love to.
All
Thank
right.
you. We have with us this morning Cindy Oatman of BG Equestrian, and she will introduce our guest this morning. Cindy is a member of the Equine Alliance.
Okay.
And has brought with us the folks from Equiventures. So
you're all with the same group.
They're all with the same group.
Oh, you
except
said
for
that
Mr.
no.
Michael Roberts on the end here, who is very, very much interested in what we're doing and is proposing an interesting new venture possibly for the Ocala Marion County market as well. That will help,
That sounds like
again,
a tease.
bring entertainment events and venues to the forefront, and of course will include the venues that we're doing in the equine industry.
Wow, it sounds like the name Equiventures sounds like, it's got a name built into it that makes it seem like we could maybe take our tourist friends to come see you guys, huh?
Yes, you could.
Yeah.
And that's why they're here today.
So, Richard, do you want to start?
Yes, certainly. I'll go ahead in front of Cindy. Well, I'm the chief executive of Equiventures and the organizer of 4 horse shows in the exciting new-look Florida Horse Park. And I say exciting because, as everyone knows locally, they've had a $4 million facelift. Which is in effect. It's not complete yet, although I was there at a walkthrough yesterday and got to see the new indoor school that they've put in. It's absolutely colossal. We think we can sit 3,000 people in there quite comfortably.
Wow.
And it's sort of, the Florida Horse Park recently has been quite a well-kept secret, although I read about it in the press occasionally. I think it's time for us to fully embrace it and realize what a great asset it is.
Yeah.
And how lucky we are in Ocala to have the Florida Horse Park right here on our doorstep.
Yes.
So what I do specifically is I put on 4 shows for the sport of eventing, which is an Olympic sport, and we have our 2 North American Olympic squads based in Ocala through the winter.
Okay.
The US team and the Canadian team are all here for training with their coaches that reside in Ocala. Clayton Fredericks, an Australian who runs the Canadian side, and David O'Connor, who's very well known here, who is the coach for the US Olympic squad.
Wow.
And I get to provide competitions for them to compete in.
Really?
Yeah, and our final show in April will be an international competition. So what we want to see is lots of people coming out to have a good look at this. It's an exciting competition, particularly on the Saturday where we run the cross country. Lots of splashing and crashing in the water, all harmless fun. We build our courses safe but sensibly challenging, and we expect to see a lot of people there this year. My role is to push the public into the sport and really show them what a dynamic sport we have and how much fun it can be to be at the horse park watching this.
So does horse sport have a season? Like, does it happen in the cooler months?
Well, here's the great news. Normally it runs through the summer months. You can probably tell with my funny accent, I'm from England.
Yeah, okay.
If we're lucky...
That's a beautiful accent, not a funny accent.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But in England, if we're very lucky if we can run a competition series in the summer because it's notoriously wet the best of times. And as a result of that, the tour around America, show-wise, typically is in the summer months as well.
Okay. Uh-huh.
But what we have the luxury of down here is the winter happens to be the best time to do it. So we have a winter series. Ours is sponsored by Ocala Horse Properties. It's actually called the Ocala Horse Properties Winter Series.
Okay.
And we'll find that riders from all over North America and even South America and further afield will come and spend the winter in Florida to compete in our shows.
So do we go to, how do we get tickets and what's the seating like? Is it bleachers or?
We have bleachers by some of the cross-country fences. We even had a hot dog stand at one of them because the water fence is so popular. It's like American Ninja Warrior on horseback.
Okay.
People love that. We have great hospitality now, which is an increasing focus for us. We've got numerous sponsors lined up to back us on that. And I passionately believe that the public need to be very, very well looked after if they're going to make the effort to come to our shows. So to answer your question, come along. The dates will be well advertised. Go on to equiventures.com if you want to just double check those dates. We will be advertising in all the traditional media.
Wow.
But we want you along. First show in November, second one in January, third in February, and our finale, which is the Festival of Eventing, in April.
Wow. Cindy, when we think about horse sports, we think about the racetrack. But there's obviously so much more to it. I mean, all along we've always known about rodeos, but now it sounds like there's even so much more.
Oh, there's so many disciplines in Ocala. Well, it's the horse capital of the world. That's our claim to fame, and that's who we are. So, with that being said, the horse park, of course, is open to many different disciplines. I work with many different disciplines as well. I represent BG Equestrian Center, which is right next door to the horse park.
Okay.
A beautiful, kind of hidden, beautiful resort facility.
Is that the place with the water park?
It's the place with the, yes. It has its own little water park in the backyard.
Okay.
So it's really a beautiful place.
Can you invite me over one day? That sounds so cool.
You're more than welcome
Yeah?
to come out for a tour. I'd love to show you around.
If I could chip in there, we have our hospitality parties there quite often, so you definitely need to come along to that one.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
But the Equiventures is just, it's my passion. Sponsorship marketing is my passion. So I'm really, just digging in and trying to bring in some new faces and some new sponsors local and on the national level to try to help Richard as well. So
Yeah, and
really excited about it.
Barbara, what you all have decided to do is something that needed to be done for a long time.
Absolutely.
I really think that the average non-equestrian in town really wants to know more. And we've always felt like, well, we don't know enough, or we kind of, you don't want to step into somebody's farm and, be bold and say, can I come look at your horses? But, I mean, you guys made us understand that it's just a matter of asking.
That's exactly right. And I've said this before, as a non-equine person, but being in this community for as many years as I have, the generosity of spirit of this industry is incredible. They want you to come. They want to help educate you. It's an open invitation, but we just have to get the public comfortable with the idea that they can come and they can be engaged, and there are people there that will help them engage, and that's the best part of this. So to be able to educate folks, and I'm going to ask Cindy also to introduce this lovely young woman to my right who is an intern. So we're not only educating the general public, but we're bringing in the next generation of those folks that are going to be interested and passionate about this industry going forward. And that's only all positive for this community in terms of not only spreading the word about this wonderful industry in our community, but the economic impact that this industry has. And the opportunities that are there for job growth and job creation, and just the whole synergy that can be created by what we're attempting to do with this marriage of the business community and the equine community, to say, yes, we're all linked together and it's all for the benefit. And then who benefits but the entire community? Because those people, as you said, what you've learned in just hosting us for these past several months, it's just an incredible experience. So to be able to bring this diversity to the forefront, I think is a positive thing.
Do we had this discussion about bandwagon fans as it applies to like football or baseball. The people who jump on the bandwagon when something is popular. When we've had a horse in Marion County that suddenly makes headlines, we're all bandwagon fans. And the reason, I think, is because we don't know about the horse until it makes the headlines. What you're doing enables us to say, wow, look, I knew that horse when it was a baby. Do I say colt? Is that the word? Colt? I never know what to say. I always want to...
We'll say foal.
Foal.
For every angle.
But what is a colt? I never understand this. A colt is a baby? No.
A male baby is
A colt is a male baby.
Yeah.
A foal is any baby.
Yeah.
Correct.
Foal
And
is
a
any
female baby is what?
A filly.
A filly.
Filly.
Yeah.
So
Now you got it.
So from Philadelphia. So you got 3. I'm teasing. And so do you want to introduce? Is it
Nicole.
Nicole.
Yeah.
We're really delighted to have Nicole join Equiventures. And welcome, Nicole.
Thank you. I'm really excited to work with you and Richard and learn how to put on some horse shows.
Wow.
It will be a great experience.
Yeah, Nicole's come down to us from New York, and it wasn't a particularly hard sell to get her to leave New York for the winter. She'll be with us until April. And just explain to everyone what your rationale for being an intern is. You're studying, and you're just about to complete a degree in...
I'm going to complete a degree in equine business management through Morrisville State College up in New York.
Oh, wow.
I want to get more on the business side of it because I'd like to make a living out of not only riding the horse, but putting on the shows. And hopefully, eventually, once I get my feet on the ground, I could apply this to New York and put this, something like Equiventures, up in the New York area in our Area 1.
What part of New York are you from?
I'm from Albany.
Okay. Oh, it's a
So,
beautiful area.
yeah, upstate, yeah.
Well, and you know, we always think of upstate New York as this vast, open, seems like a good place for horses. But I mean, we got that Belmont thing right there in the city. So I don't know much about it, but I know it's there.
Yeah, up in Saratoga Springs, we have the racetrack. Yeah, it's a really big attraction for everyone. So
Unfortunately, they also have the winter. My son's at school in Albany, and the winter's pretty harsh. So that's our huge selling point down here.
It is. It's always been.
Having run shows in the UK and seen the way things are over there, when you organise a horse show, you really are looking to the heavens and hoping that the weather's on your side. We don't have to look up very often here. It's almost guaranteed.
It's almost guaranteed.
And that makes a big, big difference to us here and attracts more and more riders.
But at the horse park, they have this new covered thing that you were just talking about.
Yeah, I mean, that works very well in the summer, obviously, because you'll
Okay.
find it's at least 10 degrees cooler under that shade.
I bet,
So it's
yeah,
really more
yeah.
of a shade. We normally think of indoor schools as a place you go to get out of all the horrendous weather and
Right,
snow and what have you. But here we use it simply as an air conditioner. And it'll suck the air through it, and it'll really keep the place nice and cool, so that the park now can run shows throughout the summer. And that's a huge selling point.
We have our guest at the end, Michael. We're going to find out what he does. Barbara, we have to take our little break.
Absolutely.
After the weather, if you could mention the sponsors,
I will
and then
do
we'll
it.
be right back, and then we'll find out. That was a big teaser at the beginning, by the way. And Michael's familiar. You do radio in Hollywood, you said?
I do.
All right,
I do
excellent.
radio.
We'll be right back. This is The Source. Hold on, let me make sure I got my buttons pushed. We'll be right back. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala.
Weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For today, times of clouds and sun with a couple of showers and thunderstorms around, high 86 to 90. Partly cloudy tonight, there can still be a shower or thunderstorm near the coast, low 71 to 75. For tomorrow, times of clouds and sun with a shower or thunderstorms spreading from the coast early to farther inland during the afternoon hours, high 87 to 91. For Sunday, clouds and sun with a shower or thunderstorm, high again 87 to 91. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Southeast AgNet invites you to listen to our daily agricultural news on WOCA. Florida Ag News airs at 10:02 a.m., Farm and Ranch headlines at 11:02, and This Land of Ours at 12:02 p.m. And for more information about a story you may have heard on Southeast AgNet, or if you missed a report, visit our website at southeastagnet.com. Keep up with the latest in agricultural news every Monday through Friday right here on WOCA and on southeastagnet.com. Southeast AgNet, serving agriculture across the deep Southeast.
Insurance, payroll, taxes, workers' comp? How am I expected to keep up with this?
APB.
Very funny.
No, APB is American Payroll and Benefits with over 30 years experience. Count on APB to save real time and money on workers' comp and payroll costs, filing taxes, you know, all that frustrating and time-consuming employee paperwork.
Thanks, tall, dark, and smart.
Call APB today at 352-624-1999. All right, just about 11 minutes before 10 o'clock. Let's rejoin Horse Sense. Barbara Feitos is here. Richard Trayford is here from Equiventures, as is Cindy Oatman. And Nicole Polcher-Guzek visiting from Albany as an intern. And now we're going to learn what Michael Roberts does. So.
Thank you. In addition to the sponsors we just heard from, of course, our wonderful FTBOA, Florida Thoroughbred Breeders and Owners Association, Infinite Day Spa, and Almara Arabians. And just a little announcement very briefly. On the 15th of October, the Horse Sense will host our annual business exchange at OBS Racetrack ITW. It will be 5 to 7 p.m. on the 15th of October, and there'll be much more information coming out on that very shortly. So mark your calendars accordingly to save that date. So.
All right, so Michael Roberts.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to see if I can be a psychic and figure out what you're going to tell us.
Okay.
There's going to be a racetrack in Ocala where we can watch horses race. Am I right?
Actually, watch horses sing and dance. Yes, it's a new venture.
So obviously I'm not a good psychic, right?
Well, you're okay. No, I actually just launched last month. It's called Showbiz No Flow for NorthFlorida.com, which is the first ever dedicated performing arts website for the Ocala region.
Really?
So we're covering theater, opera, dance, civic events, charities, concerts. First ever to launch down here to focus on the entertainment community in Ocala.
Wow. And who's in the group? Is it, are they...
Right now, I'm a solo
Right now it's you.
player.
Right now it's you. Okay.
Yeah, a little history. I launched two similar websites. The granddaddy is showbizchicago.com.
Okay.
And that's been going on for 12 years, which has almost 1 million viewers per month. And I do a TV show in Chicago called Chicago Theater Review.
All right.
And recently just launched in California, and I'm doing a talk show out there in Hollywood. And I was down here visiting my dad, who's been down here for almost 30 years now.
Right.
Who's in the thoroughbred racehorse industry. And I was at the Ocala Civic Theater, and they said, why don't you launch your website down here? There's never been anything like it. And launched almost, I think, the middle of July. And within the first week, we had 45,000 unique views on the website.
Wow.
And it's kind of taken off from there. And, to the point that everybody on the panel is saying here, and first of all, thank you, Barbara. She has been instrumental in the website success, I have to tell you. There is such a community down here, not just based on the horse community, which is, centered to the universe down here, but the people that own horses, they are such givers to the performing arts community. And I want to be a liaison between, the horse community, which raises a lot of money for charity down here, too.
Right,
I don't know if people realize that. And they give to the Ocala Civic Theater, the Symphony down here, which is building a brand new auditorium. So I want to be the voice to get that word out there.
The whole horse fever thing was probably the epitome of how the arts and the horse industry kind of came together. All those beautiful painted horses everywhere.
Horses, yeah.
That's a great tour also, if you ever get that map.
Yes. The map is available at Marion Cultural Alliance, and it does earmark where the horses can be seen publicly. Many of those were purchased, for private farms and things like that, or for private residences, and all pretty large residents for one of the horses. But and businesses have done that. But there are any number of them that are on public display, and you see people, especially walking around downtown, and that they're tourists and they're visitors because they're going to all of the different horses and they're snapping photographs and whatnot, and people that are like me that are downtown anyway, are volunteering to take group shots with the horses and whatnot. But yeah, it's a pretty popular thing, and I know go see Paulette Milhorn at MCA, and she'll hook you up with maps.
Yeah. So tell me more about so Equiventures is kind of a way. So I was kind of kidding with my psychic prediction, by the way. But is there anybody who has any inside information? Are we going to have a horse track in Ocala? Anybody know anything about this? Or is that something you would like to not see happen?
Well, we can only give you our personal opinions. And as a foreigner coming into Ocala, I've become a huge fan of this area. But I'm probably as confused as you are as to why this racing centre doesn't have a racetrack.
Okay, so you would like to see it.
Tried and failed. It just strikes me, to use a New York phrase, as a no-brainer.
What's a New York phrase? Who knew?
But I'll bow to the experts on that.
Yeah. And yeah, well, gosh, I've thought that. You know what I thought? I thought, well, maybe the horse people don't really like people betting on horses. Maybe it's kind of one of those necessary evils.
The controversial element is the gambling. I think there's certain people in control that don't like the idea of gambling coming to this area. And of course, racing does pretty much rely on the gambling. But to be breeding so many fantastic horses and then just to simply watch them all go away is a bit of a shame for us here, isn't it?
So is there anything else that the other sporting events do that the horse industry does that I just don't know about? Like, are there trading cards? Like, could I get a trading card with a horse?
Well, if you recall the movie, you probably remember the movie better than the horse Seabiscuit.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you saw that film. I'm sure lots of people listening did. He was a bona fide superstar in the United States. And when that horse ran, and there have been numerous others, if you follow racing at all, you will know much more than I do about it. But there are numerous horses that become superstars in their own right. And humans generally have a real affinity with horses. Even if we don't ride or own them, we have an emotional connection with the horse. And they almost become bigger stars than sporting athletes when they really hit the mark. And in every discipline, that's the case. I've been to retirement parties for numerous horses, and I've seen statues. Really? Oh, yeah. They'll bring them into a stadium at a large show and announce that this particular horse is retiring. And I can tell you, it's a massively emotional event. There's statues of the great horses in every major venue around the world.
Really?
In all disciplines, from show jumping to eventing, and particularly in the racing world, the jumping races as well as the flat races will all have superstars that will go back 100 or so years, and everyone will know who they are.
Really?
So it's not difficult when a horse becomes truly brilliant for it to reach the general public.
Barbara, do we have any horse statues that represent a specific horse? I know not the horse fever horses, because they kind of like a generic horse, but...
I really don't know the answer to that, but that's something we'll research and have an answer for you next week. So we can...
Do you know, and this is maybe an aside kind of a question, but I heard that when you see a statue of a horse, like if one leg is up, it means something. If both legs are up, it means something. It's like does anybody know what that is?
Well, I think you're referring to whether they died in action. That's a military thing.
Oh, is that right?
I believe so. I'm not sure. And no doubt we'll get some callers that can help me out with this.
Well, yeah, this is Google. Radio is like Google.
I'm pretty sure that you're going to find that it relates to typically when a horse is carrying a famous general or a military figure of some prominence.
Oh, so
that leg in the air is whether the horse actually died in service.
Ah.
That is cool.
That makes sense. That's cool.
And there's got to be some horses from around here.
I'm certain there are. So we'll do some homework.
Hopefully, with not too many legs in the air.
Exactly.
Really?
That's true. That's true. That is very true. But no, we'll use that as a topic for conversation. I promise you, we'll bring it back next week.
So Nicole, you're down here to learn, and you're going to take what you learn back home.
Yep.
And so 10 years from now, we'll see you doing this professionally, and that's what you hope. So if I saw a home movie of you when you were just a little girl, I bet you loved horses.
Yep. Had all the little plastic horse statues, or you could find me in the barn where I was taking riding lessons. I pretty much grew up around the horses. Yeah.
That is sweet. That's mostly a little girl thing. I'm guessing some little boys. You must have been a little boy.
I'm probably an example to back up your argument, because I remember being the only boy in my local pony club.
Oh, really?
Making the huge mistake when I was about 12 of leaving because of that. Now, by the time I'd reached 16, I wanted to be the only boy in the pony club. But I did actually leave, because you're right, it is typically, at that level at least, dominated by girls. And then when you reach the professional level, the lovely thing about our particular sport is men and women competing on equal terms. There's very, very few sports where men and women compete in the same event against each other. And you'll see it levels out again. So if you watch the big competitions, you often see women and men competing, and you won't know which one necessarily will be the winner.
How come we don't see more female jockeys?
Well, jockeys have to drive their horse, quite literally. If you look, the power to weight ratio of a man versus a woman, fortunately for the guys, is quite higher. So a man of an equal weight to a woman will be typically stronger. And if you watch those jockeys, we might all think they're just passengers. They're working very, very hard
really?
to make that horse go fast forwards. And to propel that horse down the track, they drive really hard. And so that's the answer. You've got, for the weight that you need to be, which is very, very light, a man will typically be stronger at that weight.
Wow. Barbara, we're at the very end here.
Yes.
Do you want to have any closing words, or if anybody else has any?
There is one that I just want to mention, and it has gone viral again on Facebook in light of the anniversary of 9/11 yesterday, and that is the one-time showing of the Anheuser-Busch Clydesdale commercial that was shown one time at the Super Bowl in 2002, and it's a 1-minute commercial, but check it out. It is absolutely astonishing.
Clydesdales, right?
The Clydesdales. It was their tribute to 9/11.
I remember it very well.
Yeah,
do we have Clydesdales here in Ocala?
You actually have the Budweiser horses here occasionally.
Yeah,
We do.
they come here. I don't think they reside here, but they've been here in the past.
Well, let me thank all of you. Michael Roberts, I'll start with you at the end of the round. I'm looking forward to tell me your website again.
Thank you. It's Showbiz No Flow, NOFLO.
Oh, that's in North Florida. Showbiz
Yes.
No Flow. Is it BIZ?
Yep. Nope, just .com.
No, but it's SHOWBIZ?
Yes, BIZ.
Okay, BIZ.
NoFlow.com. Thank you for having me.
Nicole, thank you for coming in, and good luck with everything you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Barbara Feitos, as always, thank you for what you're doing and what the Equine Alliance is doing with this time slot on WOCA. Cindy Oatman, nice to meet you. You've got beautiful hair, by the way.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
Richard
for having
Trayford,
me.
you've got a beautiful accent.
You can hear more on equiventures.com.
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 All right.
Or Richard at Equiventures if you want to email me.
There you go.
Thank you, all of you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back.
'Cause this race is won.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Today in Florida Ag News, I'm a Southeast AgNet. There are